To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So, as you can see, I got running water. Oh, it's been an infuriating day trying to get this pump to work. Oh. So as you may know, I've spent the last couple days, well, yesterday I installed a new well pump, but I had to put in a well liner. You know all that. And if you don't know all that, just go ahead and watch some of the videos, yesterday's video, prior videos, and you'll know that I've been working on my well, my deep wells. It's a 100-foot well. The problem I was having was the water would get dirty after a rainstorm. I had a leaking well casing, so I had to put a well packer down, new well liner. And yesterday, everything went so smooth. So I ran it yesterday, and it did fine. It was dirty, so I flushed the well. And then I had a problem with it. The generator didn't have enough power to restart the well. So I pulled the well pump up. I drilled a hole in the pipe thinking maybe there was too much pressure on top of the well pump and the generator didn't have enough power. I started it back up, worked fine. I woke up this morning and I thought, okay, I'm gonna run down here, I'm gonna check the well. Checked the well and everything was fine. It worked great. It turned dirty for some reason, the water did, and I didn't understand why. It made no sense to me. So I thought maybe the hole that I drilled in the pipe was causing the problem. That the water was coming from the pipe and stirring up the sediment at the bottom of the well, and it made the water dirty. So we pulled the pump again this morning. I repaired the pipe that I drilled the hole in. I checked the electrical connection because one of the things that kept popping in my mind is the connection is underwater. And so you have to seal that real good. And I kept thinking, well, maybe the seal has leaked and now I'm getting a ground or a short. So I would pull the pump up. I put the electrical connection that I made in a bucket of water. Pump would do fine. Generator, turn it right over. I'd lower it back down in the well. The pump would start. I would flush the well, because you got to flush the well. Every time you lower that pump down into the well, it bangs up against the side of the wall, the well pump does, and drops dirt into the water. So in order to get that dirt out, you got to flush the well out. Well, every YouTube video that you watch says if you have a dirty well, you have to flush the well out. And the way you do that is you basically disconnect your pressurized tank and you just blow the water out with the pump. Well, that's what I do. Run out of water, you have to shut off the pump really quick or you could burn up the pump. So I always stand right next to the generator, and as soon as the water starts coming out of the hose, I shut off the generator. And I've done this on the old well pump all the time. Lowered it back down there, flushed the well out, let it sit for 15 minutes, and I plugged it back in, and the pump wouldn't come on. The generator in one case, it actually tripped the breaker on the generator. And I kept thinking, it only could be one of two issues. The electrical issue, or there's so much water pressure coming down back onto the pump that the pump couldn't push it. Of course, I have check valves in place, so it's not pushing down on the pump, but I just didn't think the pump had enough power to push it up. So I started calling around to see if I could find a bigger generator, thinking maybe my generator just isn't strong enough to start the pump. And I thought, man, if that's the case, I'm in real trouble, because I don't want to go out and spend $300 or $400 or $500 on a generator and then find out I still have a problem if I hadn't fixed it. So I started thinking, well, maybe I could rent a generator. Anywhere from 60 to 100 bucks, way more than I wanted to spend. So we pulled it up again. I went through the whole routine again of checking everything. I bet we pulled the pump up 6 or 7 times. Now remember, you're pulling up 100 feet of pipe every time. Your arms start to get exhausted. Well, the other thing you got to do is, as I'm pulling it out of the well, Carolyn's down here dragging this end down in the woods. So, I mean, she's getting real exercise too. And I'm getting frustrated, can't understand what's going on. Every time we pull the well up, pump out of the well, it works. Well, I've had enough. So I Google it, and I start Googling, and I don't even know what to ask. Anything I would ask didn't answer the question. And it was just one thing after another that I've already addressed, the electric. Okay, I think I got that covered. I don't have that problem. As a matter of fact, one web page actually said stick the electric in a bucket of water and see if it shorts out. Just to be clear, there was two problems I was having. One, the water's dirty because every time I dropped the pump down in there, it would bang around the side of the wall and drop dirt in there. So I would lower the pump down in there, I'd flush out the well, I'd wait 15 minutes, plug it back in, and it wouldn't work. And now I have a power issue. So I got dirty water and a power issue. So Carolyn and I decided, wait a minute. Maybe our problem is the pump is too close to the bottom of the well. If the pump's too close, you can pick up sediment from the bottom of the well. The distance that I set, I measured yesterday, and I clearly felt like I was 5 feet off the bottom of the well, which is what the instructions said that I had to do. Just so you know why I'm pacing back and forth, I'm watching my water here. I want to make sure I don't run it dry. I'm keeping an eye on it. And so I try to set it at about 5 gallons a minute because the well can recover 5 gallons a minute. So Carolyn read somewhere from a well digger that if you're getting dirt from your well, to raise your well up. And he suggested that you raise it 20 feet off the bottom. Well, we couldn't do that. That wasn't possible because our well depth, our water depth is only 30 feet. So that means there would have been only 10 feet of water above the well pump, and you run the risk of running it dry. After a little bit of deliberation, Carolyn and I decided that we had to pull it up to 15 feet. Now remember, every time we had to pull the well pump all the way out because it wouldn't start. Once we got it out of the ground, it would start right up. We'd lower it back down and it would work fine for one run. I mismeasured. Yesterday, when I lowered it down, I thought that I was 5 feet off the bottom of the well, and I was actually only a half a foot. I know that's very confusing how I did that. I don't know how I did it. I have no idea. I lowered it down and there was only half a foot in between the bottom, so that means it's picking up all this sediment. So I'm flushing out sediment. I wasn't getting anywhere. So, okay, my mistake has been identified. So we raise it up 15 feet. It runs out of water, we flush it out, run out of water, and we wait 15 minutes, we tried to start it back up, and it wouldn't start. And of course, I'm on Google, and Carolyn decides to get the instruction manual out. And she starts reading off the troubleshooting guide. And she read off 5 or 6 different things, and I almost dismissed it because everything she read off sounded like, okay, I've addressed that problem. The electric, put in a bucket of water, okay, I addressed that problem. So she read off this one thing and it said it can get a vapor lock. Vapor lock means there's air in the pump. And so, like I said, I almost ignored it all. But I thought, no, everything else I've tried has not worked. When I flush out the well pump is getting air in it. We dropped it down to 7.5 feet off the bottom, and we decided we're not going to flush the well. I run it at 4 gallons a minute. Now the pump can pump out 13 gallons a minute, but I've throttled it down with this valve down to 4 gallons a minute, and it has restarted every time. But the problem is the water is still dirty because I've just knocked the well pump down off the side of the well. How many times now? And so I got this greenish or brownish cloudiness to the water. And so all the instructions that I've ever read says you have to flush out the well. You just dump out the well, and as soon as you run out of water, you unplug it. Well, we can't do that with this pump because we get this vapor lock. But it is clearing up. I've been running it for about an hour now, and it's starting to get clear. Now, I don't know if you can see the sand particles down at the bottom. There's sand down there. So, I mean, there's still dirt in it, but it's getting clearer by the minute. I can filter this for a month or two, and it should clean up. I tell you, this has been a pretty stressful day, and I almost thought about not making this video because I don't want to discourage anybody from trying things. But I thought, no, I need to explain to you all the goods and the bads of living off grid, doing things on your own, being independent, being free. You're just gonna have bad days. But the key to all this is not to give up. Just keep trying to solve the problem. Obviously, this can be solved. Why can't it be solved? It's either a bad pump or a bad well. Well, I don't think it's a bad well. It's got water in it, and it can produce clean water. I've seen it. So it's gotta be a bad pump. Well, it wasn't a bad pump either. It was just this pump is unique for some reason, that the other pump that I had, same company, same manufacturer, the other pump was bigger, this pump's smaller, and my guess is with that other pump having more horsepower, it was able to overcome the vapor lock, and this pump just couldn't do it. I hope I can inspire you to keep at it so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.